here from the basement underground dojo. Probably gonna have some sound issues, so once we get some people on here, we'll see if it's bearable. Maybe a little bit of static. And I'm trying to set up how the camera's gonna go. I'm using a different device, and I'm not sure because I couldn't get it to balance where I was trying to get it to balance. You can see my friend Bob in the background. We'll talk more about Bob later. Somebody on here, sorry, there's an earthquake right now. I'm trying to get this propped up because this device is shaped a little different. Not gonna balance on my vacuum cleaner. Who is that? Somebody snuck into my basement and he's gonna mug me. So yeah, you notice that this here is my new friend Bob. And for anybody who isn't watching this before Monday's class, then I guess they'll get an introduction on Monday to Bob, the regular students. But today, if you're watching live, you get to meet Bob first here in the dojo. So Bob is short for Body Opponent Bag. Is the static too bad? I know I tested it and there was a little bit of static on this one, but I hope it's still manageable. So Bob is a new addition. I like to kind of reinvest. Okay, good. I like to reinvest into the dojo a little bit whenever, whenever there's some funds that I can make that work. So this is Bob. He's used, but he's well used in the sense that there's no actual physical damage to Bob yet. Now he's in our dojo, and there's probably going to be some physical damage at some point. Yo, sup, dude? Yo, sup? All right. So what I'm going to do here is... So what I'm going to do here is probably, I'd like to maybe get some washable markers because I don't want to make any permanent adjustments to Bob's appearance. But I do want to kind of accentuate some vital points, some different spots that students can focus on trying to hit. Because you don't just, first of all, if you fight a guy who is built like that, I can join Scientology. All right, probably not this morning. It's too early in the morning to consider joining Scientology. Okay, I'm trying to look up a little vital point diagram here from the Bubishi. So there's a book that some people call it like the Bible of karate, and it's not necessarily every single system of karate extensively uses the Bubishi, but we all pretty much attack some of the main striking points, right? So you see here numbered, there's different striking points on the body. So that's where we're hitting when we're hitting Bob. So I was going to take a black washable marker and kind of get those vital points marked on Bob, and then for some striking points that people use in like law enforcement, I'm going to put those in blue, and some of those are going to be different and some of them are going to be the same points, because law enforcement, generally the way that you're trained is the official way they teach you is hit spots that are going to cause motor dysfunction, but not serious harm. Whereas karate, we're really trying to cause serious harm. In law enforcement, if the threat escalates or it's a deadly force situation, then you can adjust that as needed and meet the deadly force. But anyway, it's going to be some different but overlapping points. So some spots might have a blue and a black dot on them. Then there's some spots that I do not like for most karate techniques, but could be very effective at hitting with a weapon. So I don't like hits directly to the sternum for empty hand karate. Some people can make it work, but some people not. Some people can make it work, some people cannot. But I don't want to have those be primary target areas for everyone. Whereas if you have like a sai or a heavy impact weapon, hitting to the sternum could cause some real serious damage to your opponent. The top of the head, most karate strikes, I don't think chopping somebody on the top of the head is going to do a whole lot. A jumping Muay Thai downward elbow strike right on top of their head, I think that could do something, but that's not really a strike that we're teaching people to do in the style of karate, because the risk to reward ratio is a little different. I think it's pretty high risk, low reward. You might be in a grappling situation where you have them here and you've stalled them out, they're trying to take you down, and maybe there's an opportunity to deliver one of those. But I still wouldn't prefer the top of the head as a target. I'd rather hit, if their neck is down, hit the back of the neck. But that's a pretty serious application. That would be, I think, an elbow strike like that straight to the back of the neck, probably. In some rule sets in MMA is probably banned for that reason, because you're directly attacking the occipital and maybe the spinal column area there, the brainstem. Why martial arts over firearms or knife work? Well, first of all, after the first comment, I'm not sure I want to answer your question, but it's a decent question, so I will. I don't necessarily think over firearms training or knife work. I sometimes fly. I can't bring a firearm or a knife with me when I fly. I also may go to a government building where I can't bring some of those things, or you might not have an opportunity to get out whatever your weapon is. So if you're under attack and you're trying to fight somebody and your firearm is still in the holster, you might need to reach for it and be able to get that out. The martial arts may be able to create enough distance where you hit them, you create some space, then you draw. Same thing with a knife. You hit them, create some space, then you've got your knife out. It also may not be a situation where a knife is appropriate or a weapon is appropriate, right? It's somebody who maybe doesn't pose a deadly threat to you. Maybe they're some obnoxious person commenting on your YouTube video, stupid stuff. And so then, instead of knifing them, you can just, handle it. So knives and guns aren't the best option for every situation, all right? All right, so we'll get kind of to it. We're going to start with some warm-up stuff just to kind of get, this is really early for me, so just to get a little bit warmed up, and we're going to go through a sequence that's kind of what Kinjo Kaicho generally does here. All right, so now I've been sitting too long. Got to loosen up my legs a little bit. All right, so first we're gonna start with warming up, grabbing, and you can also squeeze the floor with your toes at the same time to get that warmed up. So we're gonna go ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. Then out here to the side, you can't see, but we'll be doing the same thing. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. Then up here, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. And down here, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. And then we're gonna loosen up the wrist. So we're gonna go vertically first, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. And when I'm loosening up wrists or doing something to warm up the arms, I'm usually walking or stepping or shaking out the legs at the same time. Go ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. All right, then we're gonna do the elbow joint. So this one, you could stay in one place and just kind of bend your knees a little bit. I think for warming up the whole body, it makes a little bit more sense to me to step side to side. We're gonna step this way, and I'm not going to extend, really snap out the arm very hard. It shouldn't be as hard as a punch. This is a warm up. So it shouldn't be like, bah, like you're delivering a powerful back fist to Bob. It should just be just kind of enough to warm up his joint a little bit. But I'm gonna go even more gently because I've got some elbow issue. So I'm gonna step and go here. Step, go here. I might drop a little bit into sort of a horse stance. I'm not gonna be real deliberate about it. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go. I could also open the hands, roku, and hit haishu, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. I think when you go haishu, it puts a little bit more weight on the joint, so maybe it's better to do closed fist. If you're gonna do 20 of those, closed fist for the first 10, open hand, haishu for the next 10. So haishu is a technique that we don't really get into a whole lot. It is something that you might use in a law enforcement defensive tactics, doing like a brachial stun there, but we don't really do that in karate. So, but could you? You could do a block their arm here, and hit there. But you could also, I would probably actually go more to the carotid artery for a karate application. Not to mention that, but in a real serious situation, if this is getting so serious I have to hit somebody in the neck, for a karate, self-defense, deadly force situation, I might snap this and use the blade of my hand. And then if they get too close, and I don't have room to do that, I use the kote, the edge of my arm, and I hit like that. Now, if I'm using the blade of my hand, could I hit the temple? Could I hit the temple with my forearm this way? Really anywhere to the head. So I can block and hit there, follow it up. All right, so I digress. You can do the back fist, double back fist, yote uraken, stepping each time. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. That can just be like a direct back fist to the nose. And then geiran. This one I usually just drop. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. I also like to do this on both sides, so I might go ichi, ni, san, shi, or you can step with it, ichi, ni. This is kind of standard for a lot of karate systems. We don't do it much because we don't usually block kicks like that, but I think it's good for like point sparring. That's actually a decent way to block kicks, because you might be here, there's a kick coming here, or coming to like the kidney area, and you gotta react real quick. I'm blocking it out of the way like this, so I can block kicks that come on this side, this way, kicks that come on this side. I might block this way while I'm keeping my hand up here, maybe moving my head back out of the way so they don't try to trick me and go do like a little like pump fake, because they're kicking down here, and then right up to the head, all right? So, I go here, block that. But that's a way to get your elbow joint warmed up, but also get that gate on block I also would use this more as like a cross face. Somebody's trying to tackle me, maybe I've stalled out the takedown, but now I want to like push their head in a different direction, so I want to push their head over there. Then I might use this to push someone's head, to move someone's head out of the way. All right, then let's go arm circles, ichi, ni, san. Now we moved up to the shoulder joint. So see how we worked our way all the way up the arm? Hachi, ku, ju, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. And the other side, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. If your shoulders still need a little more warm up, you can do double, like that. And back, ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. Now, one of the problems with the high toe is, or the high shoe, sorry, not high toe. High toe is this ridge right here. One of the problems with the high shoe is that there's a lot of nerves back here. It's very tender. You can smack the backs of your hands together to kind of toughen the hands a little bit. So that's something that you can do while you're doing this one. So you bring it to the front, smack the hands together, and clap behind you. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. Okay, you could incorporate for more elbow stuff. Hi. Let me see here. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is neck. So we went from the fingers, wrist, elbows, shoulder, moving to the neck. So we can do just a up and down. Okay, ichi, ni, 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 san, ni, shi, ni, go, ni. We go side to side. Ichi, ni, 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 san, ni, shi, ni, go, ni. Then look right and left. Ichi, ni, 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 san, ni, shi, ni, go, ni, roku, ni, shichi, ni, hachi, ni, ku, ni, ju, ni. Then you make a circle. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go, roku, shichi, hachi. Does it matter what order you do those in? Not necessarily. I like to do the ones where I'm doing kind of a two-part movement before I do the rotation. It doesn't really matter the order you do those in, and it doesn't really matter how you count them out. You just don't want to be like moving your neck around too fast. The idea here is to prepare your neck and like with range of motion, not to like snap your neck around, okay? So we've done neck. The next joint is going to be in the waist, so that's the next one down. So we followed this pathway, fingers all the way up to the neck, and now we're in the waist. So for the waist, we're going to start by bending forward. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go. Come up, hands on your hips. Roku, shichi, hachi, ku, ju. Okay, we're going to lean forward. Ichi, ni, san, shi, go. Roku, shichi, hachi, 10. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Then leaning to the side. 1. Slap the leg. Knee. Come up. Hand on the hip. Knee. Knee. 3. Knee. 4. Knee. 5. Knee. 6. Knee. 7. Knee. 8. Knee. Then we're going to make a big circle around. So this time I make sort of a horse stance, but more like a shikodachi, because I like this to be more relaxed with the feet being able to point out a little bit. So we're going to go around the world. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8。 Now, from right here, you're pretty well situated because you've already got a longer stance, so you can drop here and stretch this way. So this leg straight, this one bent. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Then you can go to the other side. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. And go back to this side. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. Other side. 1、2、3、4、5、6、7、8、9、10. You see how I put my heel up on that one. The adaptation for that, a lot of people really struggle with that one. So when you're teaching people, you can come down like this, put your fists on the ground, maybe on the side that you're not going to extend the leg, and then extend the leg. Okay, same thing, you bring it back, put your fist on the ground over here, and extend the leg over here. So that's one way of making kind of an accommodation there. There's other ways you could make accommodation if somebody is struggling to do that. You still want them to be able to do the movement. You still want them to be able to do it. Yeah. So that's a pretty good stretch that way. I was trying to think what else. Oh, they could grab onto something if they needed to. Grab onto Bob here. He's pretty sturdy. Stick the leg out to the side. All right. Next thing we're still gonna do, so getting away from the waist, we've already moved to kind of the hips and groin area for our stretching. So this is an exercise that you're still working on the hips and groin area for stretching, but you can also work on balance. So you lift your knee up to the front, out to the side, back to the front, and down. 1、2、3、4 is great training if your issue is you want to point your foot down all the time. So you can pull your foot up already flexed, bring it out to the side, bring it to the front and down. Lift it up already flexed, bring it to the side, front and down. Up flexed, out, back and down. Up flex, see how it's ready to kick already? And then I bring it out, back and down. All right, it's also ready to hook. So if I block somebody's round kick here, I could also kind of hook their foot with it, with my foot. And be able to see if I can trip them up a little bit. I think what happens sometimes, the reason why some people want to pick up their foot pointed down, I think they're getting a little bit of push off of the floor with it to lift their leg up faster. So when you lift your knee up, it should really be the hip flexors. And maybe if you've already started to move your hip into the kick, your hip can kind of help with that. It's mostly going to be this hip flexor that's just lifting that up. You can train that by doing leg lifts, by doing those leg scissors where you hold your legs out. So I'll just demonstrate a couple of the exercises that you could do. So you could be here. You could do your leg lifts this way, or you can do leg scissors this way. Also, this folding up accordion exercise. Also, getting a kettlebell, hooking your foot in like this, and lifting it like that. See how all the way from down to up, my foot is flexed. So I'm using the hip flexor to lift that up. I'm not pushing off of the floor with my foot to gain momentum, because that's going to result in me coming up like this. So just a different approach, but train the hip flexor to just pull that knee up so fast that you don't have to push off the floor with the ball of your foot. All right, so that's a good exercise for balance, going here, 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 here. I know sometimes in the morning my balance is a little bit off too. So this could be a good way for a morning workout to help you kind of center yourself and get your equilibrium figured out. You can also do a little sand. You can also do kicks with each direction. So you could go kick to the front, kick to the side, maintain your balance, kick to the back, and then put your leg down. Kick, kick, kick. And balance gets real tricky on those, so that's a good way to train it. Do something that challenges you just a little bit at least. All right, so this person says kip. I think you mean like, you want me to do like a kip up where I like jump off the floor? I'm not gonna do that. All right, we're doing a morning karate workout, but it's pretty cool. That's a cool like athletic movement. All right, so the next thing we've kind of worked out, we're gonna work on the knees. So you could start with some stomps like this. You could just stomp down, pick the knee up, stomp down, pick the knee up, stomp down, knee up, down, up, down, up, down. You go across, boom. Sometimes I like to visualize like grabbing on and stomping the knee, maybe grabbing an arm, boom, stomping across, boom, stomp across, across, kind of a downward stomp to the knee, like a Sokatogeri, boom. That can kind of loosen up your knees. Then you can do, for the ankles, we're gonna move to this. So up and back. So ichi, knee, so full toe raise, full extension, knee, knee, rock back on the heels. San, knee, shi, knee, go, knee, roku, knee, shichi, knee, hachi, knee, ku, knee, ju, knee. If you want to work on your calves, do more. Or get stairs. Go to the stairs and go get your heel dipped a little bit of a decline. Maybe grab onto the railing or a wall for some stability, so you get a little bit more range of motion in that. You could also hold some weights. Oh, I like the rock back though, because I feel like that gives you a little bit more extension when you extend the foot. Now we're gonna go outside and inside. Ichi, ni, 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 san, ni, shi, ni, go, ni, roku, ni, shichi, ni, hachi, ni, ku, ni, ju, knee. Kind of shake out your legs a little bit. All right, so that's pretty much a good warm up, and I'm hoping. Oh, is that one of the characters? And I haven't seen Napoleon Dynamite for a long time, but I do have nunchuck skills, bow staff skills. I need to rewatch that. Get a little Rex Kwon Do stuff going. All right, so if you're like if you're in a position where you're leading the class through a warm up, I think what we just did is a great warm up. The consideration is how much time do you have, because that's maybe a warm up I would lead people through normally if it was an hour and a half that they were going to train. If they're only going to be able to train for, let's say, it's some kids, they don't know very much, they're brand new, I'm running a half-hour class, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that stuff. Also, the kids don't need a crazy full body, structured warm-up, every joint, okay? Their joints probably don't hurt, some of them, who knows, but doing more of like a jogging around and some jumping jacks and stuff like that is maybe going to be a little bit better for kids, or when you don't have a lot of time, something that moves your whole body at the same time, so you're not just like going methodically like that. That's a really good way if you're going to have a long practice session with experienced people. You could do an abbreviated version of that for a class that's going to be a little quicker. Like, let's say you've got adults, you've got 1 hour that they're going to be able to train. You don't want to spend 10 minutes on the warm-up. Maybe you want to spend 5 minutes. And so you move through it a little bit faster. All right, yep, take note. Good. And also take note on the lifting your foot up, having it flexed when you lift that up. Don't push off the floor to try to get speed. Use your hip flexor. All right, so we're gonna go straight into some Kobugyu Taisabaki Waza. All right, so to start off, Kyosuke, right? Onegaishimasu. Kobugyu Taisabaki Waza. All right, so we're just gonna go Jodan, Chudan, Geidan no Tsuki, right foot's in front. Then I step left, punch Jodan, Jodan's upper level, right to the center, Chudan, punch to the center line, Geidan, step right, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan, step left, punch left, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan. Should all be to one center line you're punching to. Sagate, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan, Sagate, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan, Jodan, Chudan, Geidan. All right, where do I want to punch? Anytime I punch Jodan to someone who's straight in front of me, I like to punch to the eye. Now, I don't like just punching somebody's nose, because a lot of people, they're gonna fight through that. There's pretty tough people. I don't like necessarily just smashing their nose. Their nose will bleed. It's gonna take its toll throughout the fight if I impede their ability to breathe, or it hurts a lot, but I would rather impede their ability to see by putting my knuckle in their eye. It's not gonna work as well with a glove, because my knuckle's not gonna go in their eye. It's gonna be like this big padded surface it's gonna hit. It still can obscure their vision some and impact it, but not gonna be as effective with a glove. But you put your knuckle in somebody's eye, it's gonna do some damage. All right, so when you think about that punch, you're punching to the center line. A lot of times people think here, right? So you're going to the nose. But if I punch his eye, and my punch is coming from the side of my body, a straight line trajectory to the center line could go through his eye, and it arrives at the center line in his brain, right? So it hits his eye here, and by the time my arm would be fully extended, it's actually going to be this far past the surface of the front of his face, and that's when it's going to arrive there. So it can go through, my punch can go through his eye to arrive on the center line. So I can say that striking to the eye is a center line punch if I'm coming from a hip chamber or a chamber by my ribs, boom, to there. Or coming off a block, like I blocked over here with my hands are over here, boom, I punch to the eye, and I get right to that center line, through the eye. All right, the next punch would be Suigetsu. All right, so now we're gonna have to pick on somebody my own size here. There we go. Just practice my face off. Stare down. No. All right, so punch the eye, Suigetsu, the solar plexus, right where the sternum ends, the spot right where the sternum ends. Boom, that's a weak spot. See, Bob's abs are thick here. Boom, there, not so thick. And that's where you get hit and it kind of knocks the wind out of you, all right? My advice would be if you come across somebody who looks like this, you might have your hands full fighting them, all right? So be careful, be careful. Pick who you fight judiciously, right? Eye, Suigetsu, then groin for that last Gedan punch. Boom. Jodan to the eye, Chudan Suigetsu, and then punch to the groin for that Gedan punch. All right, that's how I think as I'm walking across the floor with it. All right, we'll do one more kind of a warm-up Tai Sabaki Waza. That's going to be Gedan. Well, we'll do two more. We'll go Gedan, Chudan, Jodan, Sokoto Geri. So these are kicks. So I like it because it's like ascending levels of challenge. So maybe your body's not super warmed up, so you're not just doing a bunch of high kicks. So you're gonna go Gedan, kick to the knee first, and Chudan, kick about your belt or stomach level, Jodan, kick head level, and then Sokoto Geri, kick to the angle with the sword foot kick. Okay, then move back. Hey, Gedan, Chudan, Jodan, Sokoto Geri. All right, so normally you would move across the mats like that. I don't have a lot of room. I'm just gonna practice moving back in a defensive way, all right? So if I was sparring, a lot of times what I do for blocking is I'll keep one hand in front, and that hand's just gonna stay in front no matter what, okay? That's my speed hand. That's the one I'm gonna try to like, hit him with something really fast, a back fist, kind of a jab, or like a looping, reaching hook, hit him with something pretty fast there. That hand just stays in front. So if my right hand's in front, my left hand stays back, but I can use both hands to block, because that might be a kick coming at my head. Boom. I can use both hands to block here. So this is like the one that's going right there. This one's supporting. Boom. So I block, and then I keep this hand in front and block over here. I can block Gedan. If I block Gedan here, I don't use this hand too. I keep this hand up to defend everything else, or block Gedan over here. So I'm blocking here, 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 like that. So I'm right there. So as I back up, I block, and I kind of do each one of those things. Then I'm gonna kick again. So I'm gonna go Gedan, Chudan, Jodan, Sokoto Geri. All right. And then I'm gonna back up. My right hand's in front. Block over here, block, block, block as I'm scooting back. Now let's see. I'm gonna kick right first this time. I'm gonna Gedan, Chudan. Did I do right first the last time? I don't know. But left first. Kick, Gedan, Chudan, Jodan, Sokoto Geri. Yeah. Now my left hand's in front. So as I back up, I'm gonna block over here, over here, over here, over here. Trying to block it as I back up. So keeping here, block, 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 block. That's not part of the movement. That's just a way of me working in a little bit of like sparring defense as I'm backing up. So as I scoot back, blocking, 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 and that gets me all the way back there. All right, so I have terrible news for you, Acoustic Vibes. Ip Man has passed away a while back. There's still people doing his Wing Chun. This is
originally related to Wing Chun. It comes from a Southern Chinese style. So we use some similar stances and some similar hand arm positions. So you can see if you watch Wing Chun, you're like, okay, I can see that's maybe in the same general family of Southern Chinese martial arts. But yeah, unfortunately, Ip Man has passed a while back. All right. So then, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go Tate Ken, Shote, Yokohiji. So elbow strike, and you're gonna move into that Sui Gauche longer stance. Then you do the elbow strike. So anytime we do an elbow strike, instead of just lunging forward in the same stance, we're gonna switch our stance to boom, to extend and be able to reach further. So here I can punch, but I cannot elbow strike without moving my feet. So punching range is a longer range than an elbow strike. If I want to elbow strike him, boom, I have to change the range and move in. So this is a good way of training to cover the distance. So we'll do it one more time together. We're gonna right foot, right hand, Tate Ken, vertical up and down fist. And the person in the comments who likes Ip Man and Wing Chun, they do a lot of that vertical Tate Ken fist. Bruce Lee did that a lot. Boom. And then with no wind up, like Bruce Lee for like his 1-inch punch, you just did this, boom, you're going straight up with the shote, the palm heel strike to the face. And then again with no wind up, but you're stepping in, boom, dropping into that Sui Gauche. Coming here, move in, Tate Ken, Shote, Yokohiji. All right, so on Bob, it's gonna be Tate Ken. So maybe I blocked here, boom, I block, I go in Tate Ken, right to the Suigetsu. Then with no wind up, maybe he's punching here, and I'm just moving in instead of just standing here and hitting him and getting hit. I'm gonna scoop myself in. I'm gonna use my feet and my hips to generate the power so I don't have to pull back and hit. I can go straight from here to here. And actually, I like this target, but if I'm already here, I can move all the way in and come up under his chin like that. Come up under the chin, that stretches him out a little bit. I could go fingers to the eyes while I'm there, depending on how dire the situation is. And then from here, see how I've moved him back? Boom! I move in and strike to the floating ribs with my elbow, like that. And then of course, anytime you hit, don't just think hang out there. You gotta come back. I think sometimes karate, we do really well at hitting, but then we think about like leave it extended to follow through with a movement. But you always have to be thinking about defense. They're gonna hit you back. That elbow strike might not take everything out of them, just one hit. Yeah, no wind up. Don't show them what you're gonna do. That's right, no wind up. So you're right here, just straight to there, straight to there, boom, straight to there. All right, no wind up. That shote strike, the palm strike, we're gonna hit more on this in a little bit. I should probably kind of keep track of my time, but we're running out of time here. The shote strike, maybe it won't be in a little bit, maybe it's just gonna be now. If you are smaller and they are towering over you, you can take your palm and you can come up and hit under the chin, all right? Most people are not real, not everybody knows how to fight out there. So could their mouth be open and you hit them and their teeth clack together and their brain rattle a little bit? Yeah, like that's a pretty jarring strike. Could they be sticking their tongue between their teeth? A lot of people have that habit, and you hit them there, oh my goodness, they're gonna bite their tongue, and that's gonna be really bad for them if that happens. So you wanna go, if you can, if you're lower than them, going up to the chin is great. And I love how that positions you for, you can kind of put your fingers in the eyes. Even an incidental eye poke, people be playing basketball, someone accidentally catches a finger in the eye, 7 foot tall basketball player on the floor, squirming, holding their eye, freaking out. So eyes, nobody's tough enough to just, not have that bother them, okay? Not even Tom Aspinall, if anybody gets that reference. But yeah, so you're gonna hit here under the chin and poke into the eyes if that's available to you. If you're fighting somebody who tucks their chin down like they're supposed to, and they're coming like this, you're not gonna be able to get under that chin. So that's where I think hitting Jinshu. Jinshu is right under the nose here. It's a nerve motor point, so there's styles of martial arts where they'll either give that like this, or they'll do it like this. But you can use that nerve motor point to kind of control somebody a little bit. I don't like it because it's too close to their teeth and they could bite you, but that's an option. But I do like it for a palm strike because I don't think it leaves you very vulnerable to being bitten. You're not going to leave your hand here all day. You're just going to hit directly under the nose, that Jinshu, and that can really be painful and disorienting. You could break the nose there. There's a myth that if you hit somebody going up like this, it's going to push their nose, whatever little bone is in the nose, like push it up into their brain. It's a myth. It's been shown to be a myth. So don't use this movement thinking like, oh, this is going to be the kill shot, boom. But also don't be afraid to hit them there because you think like that's more likely to cause death. Now, hitting anybody in the head, hitting anybody in the neck, hitting anybody could cause death, okay? It's not like, oh, my hands are so deadly, I'm going to hit them and they're gone. But if you hit somebody and they have a health condition and something goes wrong in their heart, something goes wrong in their brain, that could switch them off, they could die, and it's your fault because you hit them. So you better have a reason. You better be defending yourself. You better be in the right. If you're fighting, a lot of people think, oh, it's just a fist fight, no big deal. You're fighting in the parking lot, boom, you hit them, you rock them, you knock them down, and maybe they fall down and their neck lands funny, like in $1 Million Baby. I think it's Hilary Swank, her character. She falls and she hits like her head and neck on the stool, and it breaks her neck and causes a spinal cord injury that leaves her paralyzed. So that does happen in real life. People die from hitting their head when they fall. So you knock somebody out, they fall. That could be, you could have a lot of really serious legal problems. So you better be defending yourself. You better be able to articulate why you did what you did. Hopefully you're making better choices to avoid, to run, to escape, to get to a safer situation, to have good, safe habits whenever possible, so you don't place yourself in a place where you're having to use really serious self-defense movements, okay? And with that, I'm probably gonna wrap up the video in a second here. Any questions real quick before I go? Okay, so how tall is Bob there? Okay, so this Bob is about 6 feet because I'm about 6 feet. I think I have Bob set up so he's close to my height. He might be 6'1", I don't know. I think it's about 6 feet. Bob can be adjustable, look. This is, I think, the lowest setting of Bob. So I'm 6 feet tall for reference. I don't know, is he 5 feet tall? Maybe, okay. So if you're a little shorter or you're training to fight, hey, some of the short people can be kind of difficult to fight because they get real inside, they want to be up close to you. And if you want to reach out and touch them from a distance and they want to get right in here close, that can be a challenge. So you shouldn't just assume it's only going to be the big people who can fight. Short people can fight too. So, but I'm not sure I would train specifically on like a really short Bob just for that. I do feel like he's like a little more structurally stable when I set him low. So if I'm trying to put like really powerful round kicks and stuff, I might set him up low. Just, I don't know. It feels more comfortable. What? Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. All right, so then he also can get really tall. I don't know what the tallest. I think this might be the tallest. Wow. So if they're this tall, I'm gonna be thinking about all the other options than fighting them. But it is, it is an interesting problem posed by somebody really tall, because now instead of punching straight out to their head, I have to punch like this to hit somebody in the head. I have to punch like this. And some of you guys might experience that with someone my height, is you're having to punch up, and then gravity is not on your side. So you're punching up, and so maybe different punches might be better for you. Instead of punching way up like this, maybe you're gonna have a better time, using ribs as target, but some of the effective targets are still up here. So maybe punching up to the chin, boom, boom, like that might be easier than a direct straight punch to the eye. Or you might have to loop your punch over the top. So there are some considerations. You're gonna have to make it work for you. But yeah, Bob is very adjustable. He can get taller and shorter. All right. Well, you guys take care. Have a good rest of your day. And thanks for joining. Yeah, I think it's a good thing to train with for sure. All right, take care. Hey, subscribe Acoustic Vibes if you haven't already.